Nick, you left Jokic off your top 50 all time. That didn't age well. Where does he rank now? All right. When I did the 50 best of the last 50 years, Joker had won one league MVP ever, okay? Had one playoff run to the conference finals. That was it. It was totally legitimate at the time to not have him in the top 50. Now, where would he slot in? So, let's look at my top 25. Number 28, I know I said 25. Number 28 is a center, though, Patrick Ewing. Joker obviously is ahead of him. I just want to check Joker's. So Joker's got 3 first-team All-NBAs, 2 second-team All-NBAs, obviously a 2-time MVP. I'm going to have to try to keep this in my head. He's a 2-time MVP, and how many? I'm just trying to look up the things that I weighed a lot. And he's got 2 other top 5 MVP finishes. He has a 4th in 2019 and obviously a 2nd this year. All right, so 3 first teams, 2 second teams, 2 MVPs, a finals MVP, and 2 other MVP top 5s. Okay. So number 25 in the last 50 years, I had Harden. He's obviously ahead of Harden. Number 24, I had Stockton. Stockton has 2 first teams, 6 second teams, 0 top 5 MVP finishes, but his all-time counting stats are bananas. He's obviously ahead of Stockton. Number 23 of the last 50 years, I had David Robinson. He has 4 first teams, 2 second teams, 1 league MVP, 2 seconds, and 2 thirds, and a defensive player of the year. He obviously also has 2 titles, one of which he was really good on. I think he's better than David Robinson. Number 22 is Kevin Garnett. 4 first teams, 3 second teams, 1 MVP, 2 seconds, 5 top 5 finishes. I think he's better than Kevin Garnett. Garnett, we don't talk about it much, but Garnett had some real playoff struggles. And it wasn't just in Minnesota. He was not a guy you could give the ball to and just, you knew he was going to come through. Great defensive player. All-time defensive player. Number 21 is Chris Paul. He's now better than Chris Paul. He just is. That's what a championship does for you. Number 20 was a projection, if you remember. I had Luka. You got to obviously have him ahead of Luka. Number 19 I had was D. Wade. I do not think he's better than D. Wade yet. So, right now, he would be, for me, the 20th best of the last 50 years. And how many guys in all of NBA history would that leave? Obviously, Wilt, Russell, and West would be the 3 super old timers I'd have ahead of him. I'd have him ahead of Oscar and Elgin. And Mike and Pettit are just too hard. It's just too hard. You got to give credit for what they did, but come on. So that's where it would be for me. He would be the 20th best of the last 50 years. The guys still to catch would be D. Wade, Barkley, Karl Malone, and Karl Malone's a very unique one because his regular season resume is that of a top 4 player of all time. And his postseason resume is not great. 2 finals appearances as the best player, but didn't really come through huge. But he also is a 2-time MVP, 9 top 5s, 11-time first-team All-NBA, third most points of all time. I have Dirk still ahead of him. Dirk, oddly, is very underrated by some people. I don't quite get it. Isaiah Thomas, who is wildly underrated by people, but they're just wrong. I just won't even engage them on it. And then Giannis, Durant, Moses, Dr. J, Steph, Shaq, Dream, Bird, and we're getting to really hollowed ground. So, my guess is Joker ends up somewhere in that top 15 of the last 50 and with a chance to crack the top 12. The problem there is, for any of these guys, is Durant is still playing. He could climb, even though it's not likely. And Giannis is still playing, and I think he will climb. It's going to be very interesting to see who climbs higher, Joker or Giannis.
Hey, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button to get more from the show, and make sure to click the bell to get notified every time new content drops. Check out full episodes of What's Right wherever you get your podcasts, or just click the link in the description below.